All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. So we have a new model in the stable here. This is an airplane I've wanted for a long time. Specifically this one. This is a Grumania kit. This is a Bell P-59 Airacomet. And since I'm on a bit of a Bell kick lately, this is another significant airplane in American history, much like the Bell X-1. The Bell P-59 was America's first jet-powered airplane to successfully fly. And it was powered by a couple of British-designed engines. And because Bell was kind of the low guy in the totem pole during the war, they weren't as busy as North American and Republic and some other, and Lockheed, some of the other companies that were making airplanes like crazy for the war. Bell, being kind of a lower end company, or having more time on their hands, essentially, because their production wasn't as required as some other companies, they were asked to build an airplane for testing jet engines and for building the first fighter. So basically, Bell set out and built this airplane, which, if you look at it, it looks kind of like a P-39, but jet-powered, or a P-63. The wing is more like a P-63. But this airplane actually first flew in October of 1942, and they were awarded the contract to build the airplane in early 1942, and by October they had a flying airplane. So it was like 8 or 9 months from go ahead and build it to flying airplane. The story behind this airplane is actually really neat. If you're interested, you should do some research. There's a bunch of great videos online that talk about the history of the airplane, how it was built, where it was tested. The airplane first flew at Edwards Air Force Base. Well, it was Muroc Field at the time. It wasn't Edwards yet, but it flew at Edwards Air Force Base off of the lake bed for its first flight. My hope was to maiden this airplane off the lake bed. This airplane is not flown. It was built by Austin Goodwin in Mesa, Arizona. Austin is a awesome builder. This model is just beautiful. There's just tons of detail. It's hard to see on video, but it's got all the rivets. These might be Chad Veach rivets and details. And again, it's hard to see. It's hard to see them on camera, but they're there. There's rivets and stuff everywhere. The tails are fake fabric covered. And the model is just absolutely gorgeous. It's got panel lines. It's got nomenclature. Everything was really well done. It's got scale struts, the scale P-59 nose wheel, main wheels, gear doors. I mean, look at the detail in this thing. It is totally freaking cool. And typically, I don't buy models that are finished like this. Usually, I'll buy like a project airplane that needs to be redone for it to look nice. I almost never buy airplanes that are just done really well right off the bat. I'll show you the cockpit here. It's got the radios in there. It looks like a hand-carved pilot, to be honest with you. Anyway, it's got all the gauges back there. I mean, look, it's got the wires coming off of the gauges. Talk about detail. This thing is really, really cool. And this airplane was built quite a while ago. It was finished around 2011, as far as I can figure. It won first place for a scale jet aircraft at the AMA Expo in 2012. It would appear that Austin intended on competing with this airplane, probably in Scale Masters, because he's got all of the required documentation, 3 views, documentation about the real ones. So the tail number on this airplane is the airplane that is at the Planes of Fame Museum. He's even got a magazine in here with an article on some of the tips and tricks for building this kit, 2011. So this airplane was finished around that time frame and has not flown. Oops. And it's powered by a turbine, so this is the tailpipe for it. It's a single wall tailpipe that just slips in place and screws in. And it was originally powered by a Wren Super Sport turbine. This turbine has 2 starts on it that Austin did on the ground. I'm going to run my Swimwind 80 in it for now. This is the same amount of thrust. It's a little bit smaller. It weighs about a half a pound less actually. So I'm going to put that in there. That should be the easy part. What I'm doing right now is getting the radio set up, getting everything figured out. So this thing has a pretty short nose and there's a lot of airplane behind the CG. So there's a lot of nose weight, and Austin had this giant chunk of lead glued inside the front of the nose, which is fine. The problem with that is I had nowhere to really mount the batteries that was easy to get to. And if I didn't like the CG, there was no way to really change it. So what I've done here is I've made a lead sled essentially. So I got some of the lead that he had in there, and I'm running my 2 packs for my power safe receiver and the LiPo for the turbines. So this slides in the nose and I connect everything, and then once I'm at the field, it just goes in once, everything stays connected, and I got switches to turn everything on. So not a huge deal there. I got the Spectrum, looks like a mess, but honestly it's quite a bit nicer than it was when I bought it. Got a Spectrum 9 channel in here. I got to run the receivers, or the satellite antennas still. This is the UAT right here. I got to hook this line up to the fuel pump still, if I can get to it. So I got to hook that line up. Everything so far, I got the controls all set up. The fuel tanks look good. I haven't put fuel in it yet, so don't know if there's going to be any leaks or not. But so far, the air system's been working pretty good. And I got to clean up some of this stuff. These are all the connections that come off the wings. So there's 2 lines for the air cylinder, 2 lines for the gear, 2 servo wires, and a brake line on each wing. So there's a lot of connections that come through the wing into the fuselage. So anyways, what I'm about to do here is finish up the radio stuff and get this turbine installed, get these antennas mounted, and get some fuel on this thing, and double check the air system and the fuel system, make sure I don't have any leaks, test run the engine. This is one of the turbines out of my T-38 for now. That might not stay in here, but for now I'm going to use it just because that's all I'm going to do. I didn't feel like buying another turbine right now. Just use what I got. The T-38 is not, there's anything wrong with it, but it's kind of down for now. I've got to be doing some cockpit building on that. That airplane doesn't have a full cockpit, and I've got a bunch of really cool parts and pilots and seats and neat stuff for doing a full cockpit. So the T-38's kind of down for now, so I'm going to use the turbine from it. But yeah, let me get this thing all sorted out, and if it does run and everything goes okay, we'll probably get a video of it running on the ground and showing all the functions of the plane. But I'm hoping, if everything goes good, might be a late night, but hoping to maybe maiden it tomorrow, but at Arvin instead of the lake bed. It's supposed to be pretty windy down in Rosamond tomorrow, so I'm going to have to go to Arvin to fly it, if it is ready. If it's not, we'll wait till we can go to the lake bed, take the X1, fly both of them on the same day. I still plan on taking both of them to the lake bed to fly at the same time. It's just we got to wait for the weather. And this time of year, weather starts to get kind of touch and go out there. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. So it's supposed to be pretty heavy winds tomorrow, so we'll shoot for Arvin if it does indeed get ready to fly. So anyways, I'll stop talking and finish up the rest of this install. All right, guys. Well, it's the next day, night thing. So obviously didn't maiden it. Ran into some serious air leak issues with the door system. So I ended up deleting all the doors and manually closing them. I'll flip it over and show you in a little bit. I do have the turbine installed. I got some wiring to clean up still, obviously. So I gotta clean up some wires and stuff, but I got some fuel on board. I'm ready to fire up the motor for the first time. It started leaking really bad when I got to the second set of tanks, which sit on top of the main tanks. So bad that I'm pretty sure that there's a split tank or something because it was just pouring out fuel. So anyways, that sucks because I don't know how I'm even going to get to those tanks. They are buried in this fuselage. So I might end up just having to delete those tanks and just run the main tanks. Good grief. I'm sorry, it's always laundry time around here. So anyways, I gotta see about that still, but we're gonna fire this thing out for the first time and see what happens. Well. Good grief. Stupid dryer. Alright, well, it just had a failed start, which is the first time it's ever done that. Again, these motors have run, but not in this airplane, obviously. The lines were a little dry, so it could have just been that the startup sequence wasn't quite right. So anyways, I'm going to give this thing another shot, and yeah, hopefully it goes alright. Alright, so we just ran it really quick. It's on the cooldown right now. Fired it up the second time, so wasn't too worried about that. Seems to be running pretty good. It's got good push, but I got to figure out where all that fuel's coming from. And yeah, situation normal with old airplanes. So really hope the tank isn't broke. Really hope there's something else that I can easily fix, but I don't think that's the case. So anyways, I think that's it for tonight, guys. We'll pull the rest of the fuel out of this thing and check it out, and hopefully I won't be around this weekend, but hopefully the next weekend we can maiden this thing, assuming I can get the fuel system worked out. I got the air system going pretty good now. It's holding the air pretty good. And again, I've got the doors are actually on some wires, so when the gear goes up, the tire grabs the wire, pulls the door closed. Actually works really well. So the CG is good. We got the battery tray thing figured out. So yeah, last things are just getting this fuel system figured out, finding the leaks and figuring out how to fix it. Hopefully it's not a tank removal, because if it is, I'm screwed. And that should be it for items to get ready to fly. So anyways, hope you guys like the new project, and yeah, hopefully we'll be flying it soon. Hope to see you guys in the next one. Alright, so just a quick addendum to the video. We're going to do a little gear swing for you guys. Show you the manual doors. Works pretty sweet. I actually pulled about 4 ounces of weight just out of hoses and valves and cylinders, which obviously not a big deal for something this big, but still. The turbine's about 6 ounces lighter too. I think overall I probably pulled close to a pound out of it between everything. So again, all this wing, that's not going to make a huge difference. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I took a quick look at it. I think it might have just been a fuel line that was leaking, so I'll reevaluate that next week. I actually don't have enough fuel left in my tank to fill it back up and try it again. So anyways, a couple weeks from now we'll hopefully get to fly this thing. And again, hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one.